Okay.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Travel Ball Talk. I'm your host, Rich Prado, owner of Play in School. Today, we are headed to where every travel ball coach wants to head out to, Las Vegas. We're going to be catching up with Matt Trzpis with the LV Knights. The Knights are uniquely built around an interesting educational opportunity that a lot of their guys are involved in. That's why I invited Coach Trzpis on the show. Matt, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
I'm great, Rich. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'm kind of hinting and dancing around about what this sort of like alternative education. I want to know more about it, but before we get to that, let's go ahead and give you an opportunity to sort of introduce yourself and walk us through the journey of where and how the LV Knights came to be.
Okay, great. Yeah, let's see if I can start at the beginning here. So my name is Matt Trzpis. I'm a retired law enforcement officer here in Las Vegas. And about 8 or 9 years ago now, I think about 10 years ago now, myself and Lance Johnson, who is the other founder of the Knights, we were coaching kids in youth soccer, and our boys met. We realized quickly that soccer was not the sport for our boys, so we do coach T-ball, Little League together, and then morphed its way to our first club team, where we started our boys at 7U, playing with 9U players, and we teamed up with another good family friend of ours and also another coach of ours, Tyler Barlow, who had an older son. And all of a sudden we became a club team of basically, just our local Little League kids that all wanted to play together and rise up together. We just kind of have been that same team, the base of our team, and that's been our same team for years. And, now our boys are sophomores in high school. Tyler's boy is now a junior, and our other coach, Daryl Wolf's son, is a sophomore as well. And our boys have been together for, a good 8 to 9 years now together.
Hey, hang tight. I was about to ask you that. It sounded like I was trying to do some math in my head. About 8 or 9 years. While I have you stopped, you are you're kind of coming in and out just a little bit. Are you using a headset or anything? I'm curious.
No, is that any better?
When it's good, it's perfect. I just, don't move for about the next hour. Stand perfectly still. Whatever you're doing is good. But I think it's going to be okay. So
okay.
So this literally, and by the way, I hate when people rag on dad coaches. I played for my dad, and turned out all right. So, yeah. I think, and I'll play devil's advocate, and why people talk about like daddy ball is I think what they're talking about is when the disgruntled player / parent takes their ball, packs up their bag, leaves, and starts another program because they're unhappy, and they stick their kid at shortstop. So like I can understand that, but then some people go beyond that and say, well, no parent should ever be coaching. I think that's just totally false. And it doesn't sound like you guys were disgruntled parents. You guys were friends from the community. Your kids were friends. You guys were hanging together, playing together, different sports together. And that's where you started this thing 8-9 years ago. So before anybody gets on me about having some kind of daddy ball on here, you guys can kick rocks.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If you knew anything about the way we operate and the way we do things, it couldn't be further from the truth.
So you guys get to get going, 6, 7, 8 years old. Fast forward, your boys. I think you said your boy's a sophomore, and your other coach's kid is currently a freshman.
No, my other coach's son is also a sophomore, and then one of our older coach's sons is a junior. So we have 4 coaches. 3 of our boys are sophomores, and one's a junior.
Got it. So my assumption is you guys are running around doing the youth stuff, and then, whoops, your kids grew up. They got, they started eating a lot more. They started to smell funny, and at the same time, they're like, oh, we might want to play college ball. Let's start doing a little bit of this, older age group travel ball circuit. That's my assumption. Is that sort of what happened? You kind of grew into it. That's pretty accurate. I mean, we wanted something a little bit more competitive, and our boys have always played up in age group just because in order to keep them together, they had to. Because one of our coaches does have an older son, so our boys have always played up in age, and then the team has just filled itself around that and morphed into. We had a 14U, a 16U, and an 18U last year. This year we're more focused on 16U and 18U. It's just kind of morphed its way into multiple teams as well. That's all headed towards our school. Yeah, let's get into that. Tell us about where most of these kids are going to school, and tell us what's so special about this place.
Yeah, for sure. So for the longest time when we were playing, 10, 11, even 12U ball, we didn't have kids that were all planning on heading to the same school on our rosters. But when we got closer to considering the high school scene and where personally we wanted to send our own children to school, we kind of sought out a high school that is a little bit different. One of our coaches, Daryl Wolf, he has a connection with the high school prior to us getting here, and we all kind of decided, well, this would be a really good place, a unique place for them to get a different type of education. And it just so happened that once our boys decided to come to this school, that a lot of the players that play for us also decided they wanted to have experience, and they also applied to come to the school as well. And then all of a sudden, a couple of years later, we've got all of our teams, both of our teams that we have full of rosters, all of the boys now attend this school. It just worked out that way. We never planned it that way. It just so happened that everybody decided they wanted to be.
So, 2 full rosters, all at the same high school, and these guys are also playing summer and fall together through the LV Knights, which are a nonprofit.
Correct. Yeah, we're a nonprofit organization. The kids all attend Southeast Tech Career Academy here in Las Vegas. It's a school that you have to apply to get into. We have about 14 to 15 areas of study that you can quote unquote major in here at Tech High School. Some of the majors are what we consider interest-based, and they're just an open lottery to anyone in the Valley that wants to apply to come here. And others are more merit-based, and you actually have to have as your prerequisite to get to school.
Hey, hang on. Try and move to or speak directly into the phone. You're going in and out a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. No problem.
That's good. Whatever you just did is awesome. So you were saying. Let's back up a second. There's sort of 2 ways. There's a merit-based application process to earn your way in, and then there's the basically an open enrollment for kids from the area that want to apply.
Right. So the merit-based programs are more science and tech-based. You still have to go through a lottery system to get in, but grades count from 8th grade to help push you up the ladder in that lottery. And other programs are more, hands-on programs. Like we have a construction program here. Then those aren't grade-based, but they're more interest-based, and it's just a straight lottery if you want to enter a program like that. If you have 95 applicants for 50 spots, it's just a random lottery draw as to who gets in and who doesn't. Just so happens that all of the boys that play for us have applied to come to the school, and we have had a couple not get in, and that's unfortunate because that's the way the lottery works. But for the most part, we've had success getting most of our boys into the school.
I just pulled the website up. They go by Southeast Career Tech, secta.us. Am I on the right website?
Yeah, that's correct. We call ourselves SECTA.
Holy smokes. This facility, this building, the high school, the technical center, the technical academy, whatever you guys go by, unbelievable, beautiful, fine. Those of you guys who are listening right now, always try and make a note. You can find lvknightsbaseball.com, lvknightsbaseball.com. After you go there, find secta.us, which stands for Southeast Career Technical Academy. Oh my God, this place is beautiful. Absolute. What a dream to go to a place that looks, it's just spectacular looking. Multiple buildings. Each building looks to be somewhere between 2 and 4 stories tall. Spectacular. It's just white and I don't know if that's a red or a deep maroon. I don't know what you call that. Beautiful buildings, though. Sprawling campus, athletic facilities right there. Incredible. Let's keep talking about the majors a second before we get talking about baseball.
Sure.
Talk to us about some of the different academic tracks that some of your ball players are doing.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, a good number of our boys are in the sports medicine major. We have quite a few in the auto tech major, which is, just what it sounds like. They learn the skills to come out of that major as a certified mechanic. They can go out and get jobs right away. A lot of the kids in that program go out and get jobs right out of high school. We have several boys in the culinary program. The culinary program here, if you were looking at our website, you would see we have a huge commercial kitchen and a full restaurant on site at the school. And our kids in the culinary program actually work the restaurant as part of their curriculum.
That's cool.
Architectural design, we have cosmetology, we have medical professions, and we have cybersecurity, which is a growing field, obviously, in the real world. And a number of our boys are in the cybersecurity program, and our cybersecurity program is known for sending kids directly from high school to several major car manufacturers who use, like Tesla uses a lot of our boys.
Yeah, I was going to say,
and our girls who graduate from that program as well.
This is honestly the crux of the conversation, but I think we'll get deeper into this. Tesla doesn't care if you went to college, right? They don't care. They want to know that you have the chops. And if you spent 4 years practicing the chops and you've been working in networking and cybersecurity, you got the chops, and that's all that matters. This is very cool. A couple of the other ones, I don't know if you mentioned, I'm looking at the majors on the website now. Digital game development and animation. Holy smokes, that's awesome. Architectural design, automotive, you mentioned those two. Construction, cosmetology, culinary, cybersecurity, medical professions, multimedia. That's one I don't think you mentioned. That's awesome. Education, sports medicine. Unbelievable. I mean, listen, I went to just a really straight up traditional, public high school. The track I took and the track that I think the average kid has been sold, has been sort of conditioned to over the last several years or last several generations, let's put it this way, is, do well in high school so that you can go and apply and go to a 4-year school and after your 4-year school, you're going to be guaranteed a great job. Like that's what they've been selling for a couple generations now. And well, we come to see maybe there's different ways to success in 2022 in America, and that's why I'm super excited to learn about this tech program. Your son, I think you said he's a sophomore. What's he doing? Is he doing sports medicine?
No, he's in the auto service tech program.
Awesome. Does he plan at this age? Does he plan to continue that and find a 2 or 4 year college where he can continue learning that trade, or would the plan to be to go down the street to a dealership and get a job at 18, 19 years old and start working and start making a ton of money? Because, oh, by the way, the guys I know that turn wrenches make a ton of money,
Sure. You can totally do that. He's a little more focused on that being a base for what he wants to do in the future. And, most kids who are 15 years old don't really have a great idea of what they want to do in the future. But
100%.
But he's pretty focused on, he really wants to be a pilot of some sorts, or, airline pilot.
Nice.
So auto service tech is a great 4-year base of learning about engines, learning about the inner workings of how they operate, how you fix them. And then if he's lucky enough to go to a 4-year college down the road that has a air transportation or aerospace engineering program that fits him, and he can also play ball, then perfect. He's got a great base to start with, and that's what a lot of our kids are trying to do here. They're focused on wanting to get a base. Sometimes they just want the exposure to something different, and they may or may not continue on in that field, but it's a great base to start with, and then they want to, if they can find a place that'll have them play baseball and continue their studies, then great. And if not, they've got a skill that they can fall back on, even if it's not their number one interest down the road.
That's incredible. It's so good. The lack of value that we have given towards the trades over the last, I don't know, decade, 2 decades,
sure,
is concerning. I look around and I go, man, if we fall short on these certain occupations that a lot of us sort of look at, they call them blue collar. If we fall short of those, our entire society just goes to pot, like overnight. Like if my car breaks down, let me tell you, I ain't walking anywhere. But at the same time,
sure.
But like, I don't know how to do anything with my vehicle but put gas in it and start it with the key. Like beyond that, I'm totally lost. So we need educational programs that are not only keeping these trades alive, whether it's HVAC, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's plumbing, whether it's automotive. Like we need all of these things for our modern society to stay afloat. So it is. I'm beyond excited to learn about these things. Now, one of the things. Let's talk a little bit about baseball. We're going to go back and forth between baseball and the tech side of the educational stuff. Do you guys get any pushback for essentially just being a high school team that stays together year round? You play in the spring, you play in the summer, you play in the fall. I mean, Las Vegas may even have a winter league. I don't know what you guys do in the winter. But do any of the other travel teams get a little ticked off that you guys are able to stay together all year?
No, I don't think so. I've never experienced that so far during our travel ball experience and our club ball experience. It's just our kids just want to play together. And, yeah, we do have the occasional kid who goes off and seeks out, a more prestigious program to go on travel tournaments with, to seek a little bit more exposure than we provide. But for the most part, we keep everybody together when we can, which is majority of the time. And we just play together and develop that camaraderie together. And we play against, every weekend when we play against teams that are made up of, 12 kids, and they're from 6 or 7 different high schools.
Yeah, of course.
Travel teams coming in from Arizona, California mostly, and they're made up of kids from 5 or 6 different high schools. And, we're going up with what we've got, and that's just the way we prefer it. And it helps us long term, I believe, to be as competitive as we can possibly be with what we are trying to accomplish.
If one of your guys misses a sign on a weekend in a summer game, man, that's on them. I mean, I can understand it if there's a travel team and that kid just met that coach that day and they roll into the tournament and he misses a sign, okay, I forgive you. But, man, you guys are together all year. You better know the signals. Players, if you're listening to this nights, you better know the signals by now, because it's probably the same signs all year long. Las Vegas is obviously probably optimal as far as climate goes. Are you guys staying home? Do you have the luxury of basically just hanging out in Vegas and having teams, like you said, from California, from Arizona, maybe from Colorado, who are all coming out and descending upon Vegas to play? Or are you guys hitting the road a little bit as well and heading out to some of those big events in Arizona and other parts?
To be honest, when we were younger, we did hit the road a little bit more than we do now.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we've gotten to high school, pretty much every tournament that comes in here has out-of-state teams galore coming in to play, and we don't really have to travel far to get good competition or the competition level that we can handle, that we compete well with. They all come in here. So, we don't do a ton of travel. Not that we're not averse to going out and, doing 1 or 2 of those tournaments here or there, but for the most part, we're able to stay local and get different competition. Pretty much every weekend when we play, we get somebody different to play, which is a nice luxury to have.
Well, that's what I was sort of assuming that could be the case. I think about like a lot of my friends in the Atlanta area. Man, they get to sleep in their own beds every single night. They never have to go on the road if they don't want to, because every team in the country is coming to them eventually.
And the other thing too is, we are a nonprofit, and we do try to keep the cost as minimal as possible for our families. So we do things like we offer to host for some of these tournaments. We'll offer to host at our own field so that we can cut the cost down a little bit if possible.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, sometimes we do that, and we just try to keep it to where we can play as much as we'd like to play without having to break the bank for our families.
Yeah, it's what a luxury that is. We had a coach from Boise on recently. That's just one that comes to mind as far as like geographic hurdles. Like, there's not a lot of baseball going on in Boise, so they got to hit the road every weekend. Like,
right.
I think he said like the next closest big events are in like Salt Lake City. Well, that's like 7 hours away or something like that, or 5 hours away. So the benefit of just being able to hang out in Vegas, and I'm looking at the map now because I'm geographically challenged, especially the West Coast geography. Vegas to LA with like reasonable traffic. How long does that take? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's 3.5 to 4 hours.
That's nothing.
Yeah,
that's nothing. So
Phoenix is 5 hours.
Phoenix looks like almost southeast of you guys, all highway. It looks like. Mm-hmm. Is Phoenix hosting some pretty big events right now? Right? Is that where
Phoenix is huge? Phoenix is huge for youth baseball, for club baseball. They have all the spring training facilities down there that they use quite a bit. So a lot of teams, when they do destination travel tournaments, Vegas teams go to Phoenix more than any other city, I would estimate.
Yeah, that's great. And would you say 5 hours plus to get down there?
Yeah, it's about a 5-hour drive.
And then the other one that I'm starting to see some events pop up is Albuquerque. That's a long way from you guys, though. You guys haven't gone out there for anything, have you?
No, we've never gone to Albuquerque. We've done California and Arizona, like I said, mostly when we were younger.
Yeah.
But we've never gone as far as Albuquerque. And we did the traditional, when our kids were 12, we had 12U tournament.
Cooperstown.
Go to Cooperstown.
Yeah, of course.
We did that as well, and which was an amazing experience.
Of course.
But yeah, other than that, it's Arizona or California, and most of the stuff we do now is local.
So let's talk academics again for a little bit. As some of your players will begin to transition into 4-year schools, I'm assuming a tech program like that are they doing a lot of dual enrollment credits? So if they carry some of the credits onto college as college credits?
Completely nailed it on the head. That's exactly what they're doing.
God, I love it.
Yeah, there's a couple of programs we have here where you can almost get your 2-year associates if you stick with the program and take all of the classes available to you within that program. You can almost come out with 2 full years completed already.
Outstanding. These are the things. It takes a little bit of research. Moms and dads, if you're listening, takes a little bit of research to find opportunities like this that will save you. Not a little bit of money, but tens of thousands of dollars. It takes a little bit of energy, a little bit of effort, and you just how much are you willing to sort of think outside the box? It's like, what's the alternative? The alternative where I am is kid goes normal route. He's an average player. He ends up he's good enough to play college baseball. Probably not a D1 guy. Here in Virginia, we basically mostly have D1, D3. Okay, so he's a D3 guy. Well, guess what? Most of the D3s around here are private. What's that mean? Well, that means you're going to be paying somewhere between $45,000 and $70,000 per year. So it's like, man, you do a little bit of research on the front end, find some dual enrollment, and now all of a sudden you're getting credits for pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar. Incredible. What would you say is there a most popular track, a major at this high school?
For our players or just in general?
Either or both.
Okay, so for our players, there isn't. I mean, we have probably, I'll estimate 25 to 30 kids in the program now, right? So they're in all different majors. I mean, they're spread out amongst almost all of them. There's at least a couple kids in each one. For our school is also about 60-ish% female.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a very large cosmetology program here, which is state of the art.
Mm-hmm.
Full stations for these cosmetology students, and when they come out of their program, I mean, they're certified.
They're ready to go into the work. They don't need to go to college after that, right?
Correct. They can just enter the field, and they've paid for all their licensing and gotten all their hours of training in at the school while they're here as freshmen through seniors. And it costs a ton of money to go to an independent cosmetology school. And these cosmetology students are coming out ready to go. They can go right into the workforce. So
I'm not sure. Oh, I found a PDF. I was about to say I'm not sure what all cosmetology encompasses, but it looks, well, I don't know. I don't know what the word cosmetologist means, but some of the things below that are hairstylist, nail technician, esthetician, electrologist, and a makeup artist. I know what about half of those words mean. I'm sure the mom, maybe some of the moms, maybe some of the dads are aware of what all those things mean. But that's like, I'm just thinking how many kids, listen, every kid I work with wants to go to college because that's where college baseball is played. So it's like, right? Like sort of like, it's table stakes. That being said, if you remove that and you just talk about the general population, I don't feel like every kid needs to go to college anymore. I think I never thought that, but I think it's more widely accepted that we can talk about, hey, you don't need to go to college. And I just can't hammer that home enough. And you look at a girl, she can go through here 4 years, pick up the proper licenses, and be working the day after she graduates in her field, making money. It's just
absolutely,
it's incredible. What else do I need to know about this? You guys call it SECTA, about Southeast Tech. What do I not know that I should know?
Well, one of the things we're real proud of is we were named last year as the Magnet School of America's top magnet school in the entire country. So,
incredible.
Yeah, it's a huge honor for our school, for our district in general, but, we were the overall number one magnet school in the entire country last year. And then our baseball guys, that we brought in last year won the academic state championship. So highest cumulative GPA of any baseball team in the entire state of Nevada. So we were the academic state champions. First time that's happened here as well.
Now, the school focuses on these different tracks or different majors, but I have to assume they're also going through the standard curriculum as well, right? The regular English 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I always tell people when they ask about the school is, I kind of break it down like this: we are a regular high school. They take their honors math, their honors English, their honors science. They can take any of those AP classes that anybody else can take. But instead of taking your electives like journalism or pottery, instead of doing that each year where you're picking 2 or 3 electives each year, almost all of your electives are dedicated to this major each year. So your elective classes are all spent in this major, and they increase as you go through the years, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. You increase the amount of time you spend in that major. And that's how I explain it to most people who ask.
That's really well put. And I'm thinking about the school district that I graduated from, and I also taught in about 15 years ago or so, Henrico County Public Schools. Historically, one of the better school districts in the country. I think famously the first to do a student MacBook program where every single kid in the district got computers. This would have been 20 plus years ago already. The way they do it, which is a little different than the way you guys have done it, and I kind of like the way it's laid out. In Henrico County, in our district here, each school has it's a specialty center that's housed in each of the schools. The way you guys did it is you guys kind of flipped it, and you put all of these specialties under one roof.
And to kind of jump in and expand on that a little bit, we're called Southeast Career Technical Academy. There's another 6 to 7. We have an East Career Tech Academy. We have a Southwest Career Tech Academy. They're all set up the same way with different types of majors at each school. Some overlap, but we're the only one that actually has sports. We're the only one big enough to have a high enough enrollment to actually have sports at our program.
That's really interesting.
All the others, the kids that go to those other sectional magnet schools, they play sports at their local zone school.
Gotcha.
But our kids all play for our school, even though they may be from other parts of the valley.
Interesting. So, just as an example, here in Henrico County, one of the high schools has a leadership program. One of the high schools has a communications specialty. One of the high schools has humanities. One of the high schools has the IB program. Totally opposite. They're basically sharing real estate, right?
Sure.
And what you guys have done is you set up. You got enough. Enough bodies where you got your own real estate and put everybody under one roof. It's kind of a cool concept if you think about it. You said you guys are the only one of the those tech centers that's big enough for sports there locally. How many guys? Do you know the total population of the high school there?
Yeah, we start each class with 500 kids, so we have 2,000.
You have 2,000 students. That's
a
big high school.
A little less than 2,000.
Wow. Yeah, that's not. Do you guys have football?
That's the one. Well, we don't have football or wrestling. We're not big enough. We're not big enough for a football program. And for some reason, I'm not sure why we have wrestling. I think it has to do with Title IX to have the same amount of sports, girls and boys, to make sure. That was the one they left off. But we don't have a football program.
Oh, I pulled up the sports right here. Let's see if there's anything unusual that jumps off. And there is flag football. That's hilarious. Winter sport, and doesn't indicate
it's a girls flag football.
I was going to say it didn't indicate if it's men or women. Bowling during the winter. Let's see anything else that jumps off the. You got a swimming and dive team. That would be unusual out here. Where I'm from, but I think out west, I think that's much more common, right?
Yeah, it's pretty normal for each school to have a swim and dive.
Do you guys have your own pool?
We do not. They practice at a local aquatic center.
Got it. I was going to say it wouldn't have surprised me looking at the photos of the facility. Right. Well, this has been awesome. Listen, I in one of my recent episodes, I featured the president and CEO of the NJCAA, the JUCO, the JUCO president. I've featured some past guests, many past guests that are running post-grad programs. I've featured past guests that run academies for the high school age kids. I just am so interested in the non-traditional. Not that there's anything. The traditional is probably great for the average kid. It really is, right? Like, but not everybody's average, especially when you get talking about the athletics. If you're really interested in the athletics, sometimes that draws you in one direction or the other. Just getting a little bit more under the hood of this tech program has been spectacular. So I appreciate it. I want to ask you at least one of my standard questions, maybe two of them, and then I'll let you roll. Because you're West Coast, man. It's late out here on the East Coast.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so here's one that I always find great interest in, and often will run straight to Amazon after asking it. And it used to be just straight up, what book do you recommend? But now I've changed it because, not everybody reads books. I have a 7-year-old. There's not a lot of sitting around and reading books for me. So I will edit the question. What book, movie, website, what Twitter account, what Instagram, whatever. What are you consuming that you think you should recommend to other coaches or players for that matter?
That's a good question. I'm not a huge social media guy. I'm still trying to get myself into that part of it, but I'm not usually a huge reader, but I've the one book that I've read since I've started coaching to try to make things better for my kids that I help coach is, I don't know if you've read it, but it's called Every Moment Matters. John O'Sullivan.
No, but I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, it's a book about how to make every single interaction with a kid, player/kid, count. And everything from the time that you open the gates for practice to the time that you wait with them an extra 10 minutes for their parent to show up to pick them up. It just kind of talks about how to make every single day and every single thing that you do with them count in one way, shape, or form, because you never know how that particular moment is going to impact that life. So that's kind of what the book's about.
That is the first time that's been recommended. It's Every Moment Matters, and subtitled How the World's Best Coaches Inspire Their Athletes and Build Championship Teams. And the author's name is John O'Sullivan. What a great recommendation. Not a bad recommendation for someone who says they don't read much. I think I might be ordering that one. Very good, man. Thank you for sharing that. Does anything else come to mind? I mean, I'm talking about from magazines to TV shows. I don't even care. Is there anything you've sent a text to your coaching buddies or players and say, hey, check this thing out? A lot of those documentaries, and it might not even be related to baseball, but if you've watched any of those Football Life or the new Derek Jeter documentary, and you just kind of take a look at what those elite athletes go through and how they are so disciplined to get to where they want to be or need to be. Those things to me are super interesting. All those individual documentaries and those individual stories, but you can draw so many good things from those, and I think you can get some common themes from a lot of those. Yeah, speaking of documentaries, Netflix just put out, I believe it's called Facing Nolan, about Nolan Ryan. I'm about halfway through it. My goodness, that guy was an animal. He was an absolute just beast of an arm. They don't know. I mean, he wasn't being measured on our radar, our modern day radar guns. And they say, oh yeah, he threw 101. And they're like, no way. It was way faster. Who knows? Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I agree. He probably did throw a little harder than 100.
But man, that guy was a beast. It's one of those things like, as a kid in the 80s and 90s, obviously, I knew who he was, but here in Richmond, we basically got TBS, which was the Braves, and WGN, which was the Cubs. So I wasn't watching Nolan on a day-to-day basis growing up. So seeing this kind of behind the scenes was pretty awesome. Well, listen, man. Do you have any other sort of parting shots, that anything we need to know about? We really didn't, honestly. We didn't even get into the nitty gritty about the Knights. Maybe we did. I guess we did. But are there any parting shots? Anything we need to know? Anything you want to share about the Knights or about SECTA, Southeast? Gosh, now I can't even say it. I've totally lost it. Where is it on the website? It was
Southeast Career Technical Academy.
Southeast Career Technical Academy, secta.us is the website. The LV Knights can be found at lvknightsbaseball.com. I know I sound like a broken record. If moms and dads are still listening to me right now, you can send your kid to college without going $150,000 or $200,000 in debt. I promise. It's possible. Sure. It's so possible. But you gotta plan for it. Don't, if you have a 16-year-old, he's going to college in 2 years. How does that sneak up on moms and dads? Don't let it sneak up on you. When they're however old they are today, begin thinking about it. Begin putting a plan in place so that so that it doesn't sneak up on you. Because I'm of the opinion that sending a 21 or 22-year-old into the world with $100, $150, or $200,000 in debt is about the worst thing you can do to your child. Like,
I would 100% agree. 100% agree.
I think that's maybe the cruelest thing a mom and dad can let happen. And you let that, like, you are literally letting that happen. You can, because as a mom and dad, you just say no. Like, no, you're not going to go to school that's going to cost you $50,000 a year more than you can afford so that you can play 45 games of baseball. Sorry. You just got to say no. Like, here's what we can afford, and this is what we're going to do. Like, don't let, I'm on soapbox now. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Coach, thanks for coming on, man. I'm so pumped up. I'm watching this video of your school on just a loop on your website, and I'm just mesmerized by it. It's an awesome looking place.
And before I go, I wanted to say congratulations to one of our players. If he listens to this, his name's Luke Hughes. He's the first ever Knight and first Tech player in a long time to make a college commitment. He just committed to Lewis and Clark University up in Portland, Oregon.
That's awesome.
But he's the first ever player from our program to make a college commitment, and I know there's going to be more to come because Luke was at the school when we first got here. He joined us after we arrived at the school, after the Knights arrived at the school. He joined our program. Amazing kid, amazing family, deserves everything that he's getting by going up there to Lewis and Clark. And then I also want to say thank you to my other coaches, Lance Johnson, Tyler Barlow, Darryl Wolf, and Coach Phil Stuber, who's the head baseball coach here at Tech, and our athletic director, Randy Michelich, for helping us along this journey. It's been great for our boys, and they're going to do so many amazing things while they're here, not just in baseball, but at this facility. It's a great place to be, and they're lucky to be here. I couldn't be happier to be part of it.
I thank you so much for coming on, and I'm so glad you called that boy out and congratulated him. It sounds silly. This is not the first time we've had a first-time commitment announced on the podcast. And listen, I've had some of the biggest, most notable organizations on here, and that's amazing and fun and inspirational in a whole nother way. But getting to talk to guys like you running programs like this who are doing it your own way, doing it in a unique way is super inspiring for me. And hopefully there's one person that listens to this who maybe the light bulb goes off and for their kid or for them or maybe for their entire program, and they say, hey, this is a niche that we can, that maybe we can get into. So I appreciate you coming on. I think you're doing a really cool thing, and I know I've been hounding you. We're in different time zones here, man. So we've been bouncing back and forth trying to make this happen. So I appreciate you hooking up with me tonight.
Oh, I appreciate you having us on. It's been awesome. Thanks a lot, Rich.
All right, don't hang up. I'm gonna stop the recording. Don't hang up. Hang on one more second.